It's Itzel.
And Kat.
We're here to give you the latest Hispanic news on gossip, fashion, and world news.
Everything.
So let's get started. And we're first going to start off with Los Premios Lo Nuestros.
Which aired on Thursday.
At Univision. And they are like I guess you could say like the VMAs / Grammys.
They honor Latin music and music artists. It's sort of the way that we have the Oscars for movies and we also have the Golden Globes. That's the way that you could compare Premios Lo Nuestro. They have Latin Grammys, which is the big award show equivalent to the Oscars. And then they also have Premios Lo Nuestro, which is just as important but not as big as the Grammys, which is the equivalent to us for the Golden Globes in movies. That's the best comparison that I can give you.
And so the show was hosted with Ninel Conde and also William Levy, which
looked amazing.
He looked really great.
He did. He looked perfect to me. And it was very nice because William Levy and Ninel Conde, they started the show. And it was nice to see that he began the show with a prayer for Venezuela. He asked the audience and everybody watching and joining us for silence and to do a prayer for Venezuela, which for those of you who don't know what's going on in Venezuela at the moment, students mainly and the people are trying to overthrow their current president, Nicolás Maduro, because they blame him for basically Venezuela's economy tumbling and going down instead of up.
Which is like really ironic because I feel Venezuela is such a rich country.
They
have a lot of oil, which the United States gets it from.
So there's no need for them to be in poverty and be struggling with their economy. So it was nice to see that they began the show with that, and then after that, every single artist that won something, there was not one acceptance speech during that night in which an artist did not recognize Venezuela and did not show their solidarity with Venezuela, which was nice to see because they're part of the Hispanic community. So it was nice for them to show them that even though we're having this night where we're all over here in pretty dresses, celebrating music, we're not overlooking what's going on in one of our sister brother countries. So it was nice for them to see, like, okay, I understand we're here,
we're all
partying,
together, like the
but
Latinos,
we're with you and stay strong and things will get better because they have to. So that was very, very nice to see from the beginning of the night.
Some like big wins of the night was Romeo Santos. He won Video of the Year for his song and
Propuesta
Inocente. And then
who won Artist of the Year was Prince Royce. And then there was
the collaboration
of the year,
which was with Mark Anthony and
Tito El Bambino.
Right.
For their song Porque Les Mientes. So that was a great song. So
those were some of the big wins of the night. But also a lot of the performance of that night was Marc Antonio Solís, and he also did another performance with Enrique Iglesias.
Yes, their new song, right?
Yeah, I love it.
It is. What is it called? It's El Perdedor.
El Perdedor. And it is such a great collaboration of both of them. I feel like you wouldn't put them together usually, but when
because their music styles are so different, you would never see them separately as artists and think, wow, they would
do a nice collaboration. But the song's amazing.
It is. So it was great to see them perform it live too.
They performed. We also had Marc Anthony.
Yes.
He did like a really big performance. I know, like I saw on TV, like a lot of like the whole arena was up and like dancing and stuff.
He did 3 songs too. I think he was the only artist. He had like a mini concert there.
Yeah.
He did his song Tu Amor Me Hace Bien, and then he did a new song from his album.
Right.
And he did his single of the moment, Vivir Mi Vida. So it was great.
He had so much energy throughout the whole performance and stuff. It was really fun to see.
He's a great performer.
Didn't you go to see him or something?
Yes, he just had a concert. He had 2 concerts actually here in New York. He had one at Barclays Center, which on Saturday, which is the day that I went, and then he had one on Valentine's Day the night before at the Prudential Center in New Jersey, and it was amazing. I mean, I've been to a lot of Hispanic concerts in New York City, but when I tell you, I think Marc Anthony's was my favorite, and he's not even my top Hispanic artist, but his concert and his energy and the environment of the concert was just amazing. Everything from everybody was up dancing, and what I really enjoyed about Marc Anthony is he makes his performance as much about himself as he does about his artist, which was so nice to see because you don't usually see his musicians. I mean.
Oh, okay.
So it was nice to see that he gives them importance too. Like he brought out his musicians, he brought out his violinist, he brought out his drummer, and he brought out his guitarist, and he gave them each like a 10-minute solo. And it was so
wow.
nice to see him. He just completely stopped singing and let the audience just enjoy the
spotlight be on them.
Completely on them. And I've never seen an artist do that. So it's
Right.
nice to see that he
also
recognizes
gives them back.
exactly. He understands that his songs would not sound the way that they do and wouldn't be as big as they are if it weren't for that
Right.
music in the background. So it was great to see that. But I mean, he's a complete mastermind when it comes to music. He goes beyond the singing. He
Yes,
directs,
he
he
does.
produces. He directed J-Lo's career for the most part. He was the one that
Wow, they
made
worked
J-Lo
together, yeah.
who she is. So it was just great to see that. He was dancing and the energy was
Was the
amazing.
whole arena up and dancing and stuff?
He was. Everybody was dancing, especially when he sang. He has one song from Puerto Rico because he is Puerto Rican.
Right.
He's Puerto Rican, born and raised
Born-
in Spanish Harlem.
And where was the concert? It was
The
at
concert
Barclays.
was Barclays Center,
Oh,
so I guess
wow.
that's why it was so crowded too, because
Yeah.
all of his people were there, and he sang his song that he made about Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican people.
Okay.
So everybody went crazy at that moment because
I
there was
can't
so many Puerto
imagine.
Ricans in the audience that when he sang that,
Yeah.
the flags came up, and it was a great performance overall. And he had a comedian too in the beginning of the night. He had
He
somebody
started off the
open for
show?
him, yes, and then the comedian was actually the one that started the show while Mark Anthony was getting prepped and getting ready.
That's
The comedian
interesting.
came out and kind of kept the audience laughing, made all your typical Hispanic people jokes. So his name is Joey Vega. That's the comedian that opened for him. So it was great. And apparently this comedian goes around with Mark Anthony.
Touring with him?
Yeah, he
Oh,
opens
that's
for a
really
lot of
nice.
his shows. So it was great. It was a great overall amazing experience. So if you get the chance to go to a Mark Anthony concert,
I want to go.
do it. Absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
So that was great.
That's nice. Let's talk about fashion at
Yes.
the Los Premios Lo Nuestro. My best dress for the evening was Alejandra Espinosa. I loved her gold dress.
It was nice.
It
It was the one with
fit
the low
her.
cut, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
low cut cleavage, but she was showing just enough skin, not too much, not too little. The dress just totally fit her right. The color looked great. The hair. I think she was the best dress of the
Yes,
evening
definitely.
in my eyes. I also liked Alejandra Guzman.
Yes, she did a very nice little number, and it was different. I mean,
It
it
was-
was her.
It was totally her. You could totally see the dress. It's and the hair was a little crazy,
Crazy
but it
as
wasn't
always.
as crazy as you would think Alejandra Guzman usually goes.
Yes.
It was just enough where it showed her off in the right way. I also, who was your favorite for the night?
William Levy. Yes. Even though
William Levy.
there was not a lot to his outfit. There really was not. It was a very simple black tux, but the bow tie.
But the bow tie, I love the bow tie.
Didn't the
it
bow
was
tie do
finished
so much for
touch.
him? It did.
looked-
It changed
yeah.
everything. I mean, he looked absolutely perfect, and the suit just fit him to a T. It was
Yeah.
by far the best dress. I mean, he could have came in a garbage bag, and he would have been the best dress to me. So I absolutely adored him.
Some of my worst dress that I did not like was Chica Rivera. I did not like that white dress that she had
Yes.
on. I thought she was trying to. The dress just
It
sucked.
was just a lot. It just wasn't flat.
And all I know, and it was white, so it didn't go with her. I mean, she has the nice curves and stuff.
She does. She has her mother's curves, Jenny Rivera, so they share that voluptuous Hispanic woman body.
But she was, I feel like in that dress, she was just trying to hide everything. And I
It
mean, in
was.
the front, it looked nice,
It
the
just
front
looked,
view.
but it looked
when
too
she
contained.
Yes.
Yes, I
She was
agree.
just, I didn't like it at all. It looks like she just wanted to jump out of there.
Who else dressed
I also didn't like Miriam Conde's dress that she wore on the red
And
carpet.
she was the host.
Yeah.
She must have gone through a change of 10 dresses the entire night?
The whole evening. But the one that she wore on the red carpet, I just totally did not like it. I didn't like that yellow
No.
cape that she had on. I felt like she was just trying to overdo it. She was, I don't know.
And the
it
dress
just
was
didn't
nice
go.
on its
The
own.
dress was without the cape. The
Yeah,
dress was
exactly.
nice.
If she had taken the cape off,
Right.
the dress would have been actually really nice. And none of her dresses that she came out in, I even thought were that nice. I mean, I think she was just lucky she had William Levy standing next to her, because when you were watching the show, it took away from her and you were just staring at
Yeah.
him and didn't notice, or her ugly dresses.
Ugly dresses. Very ugly.
There was those the two young actresses, Altair Jarabo and Ana Brenda
Right.
Contreras.
I didn't like their dresses. They weren't.
They're
my
both
favorite.
very pretty young actresses, but the dresses, they were just very close to their skin tone.
Yeah,
you have
it
to be
just
very careful when you wear
It
something.
washed them out, I felt like.
Yeah, I didn't like them. And then there was the artist that you did not like, Natasha Bolivar.
Oh my goodness. That dress, the whole skirt was short in the front and then long in the back, but the material just seemed like it was just really heavy on her. It was yellow. It was just too much going on. I felt like she got her grandma's curtains and just did them as
She
her
did.
skirt.
And it's just, it was the high-low skirt, and a high-low skirt is already so hard to make that look
Right.
classy and elegant. I mean, it's actually almost impossible.
And then you throw that yellow on it.
And it was
it's
such
like,
a prom dress fabric.
Yeah.
It wasn't flattering. And she's such a beautiful woman,
she has
beautiful
a really nice
body,
body and stuff.
tan.
but
She could have done a lot.
she really could have.
So it was a shame to see her kind of come out in that. But aside from that, I think everyone looked pretty dapper in their
He looked
outfits.
really good, yeah.
Daddy Yankee looked very nice in his
Yeah,
suit.
he did look good.
Paired it up with some gloves.
Prince Royce looked really
Yes,
good.
he
I
did
really
look
liked
nice.
his.
He did the colored suit.
Right. He
Him
did the-
along with Tommy Torres. They both came
did like
in
that
with
reddish, like
wine colored
Yes.
suit, and it really looked so good on them. It was nice to see a change of like color on the carpet,
right.
and they both looked different too. Even though they both were the only ones in these wine suits,
It was
Tom-
totally different
yeah.
sides. I feel like Prince Royce was more like clean cut, slick back.
proper boy,
Right.
And then Tommy Torres kind of had the rocker, laid back with my curls and hat kind of
Kind of
look.
messy, but like,
Yes.
still looked nice.
Still looked very nice.
Yeah.
So those were definitely two of the males that I also did think looked very good. Still, William Levy was the best dressed of the night. But moving on.
So moving on, we're gonna talk news.
Yes, we're going to talk world news now.
Right.
So, Premier's Minister was great, but there is actually some
Crazy.
exciting and crazy news going on in
In
the Latin
Mexico.
world. Yes, Mexico.
In Mexico, which on Saturday night they announced that they finally caught El Chapo, who was like the biggest drug head cartel.
Biggest
that
drug lord, yes.
that Mexico had, and they were catching like he was on the run for over 13 years, and they finally caught him.
They
It
raided
was
his hotel, right?
yeah, it was in Sinaloa, Mexico.
Yes.
It was the Mexican Marines and the like United States Drug Enforcement who like came together
Yeah.
and they finally caught him, which is like huge news to have in Mexico right now, especially since like the whole people say like Mexico's run on drugs, and this guy was making how
He
much
was-
a year?
I mean, they said that his revenue from his businesses
Yeah.
all over the world were bringing in about $3 billion a year. So if you just imagine how much
Because he was not only
Drug he
distributing
must
to
have brought.
Mexico, he was going to United States,
Europe, Australia,
like he
it
was,
was-
big.
and if you just think about $3 billion, how much he must be moving worldwide, not
Yeah.
just Mexico. I mean, yes, he was from Mexico, but this is going to impact drugs being processed all over the world because this man was he was the head of all the drugs that went around the world. So
Yeah.
it's almost like he's like a mythical creature, you think.
Yes.
Because you don't
He
see
was-
him, you just heard of him, and then there was sightings of him, and then he had been in prison once.
Right, in
in
Mexico,
Mexico.
but he escaped.
So then he was on the run for 13 years after
Right.
that. So then he just became this mythical, powerful creature that nobody could catch. And he was named what? He was named the most powerful, one of the most powerful.
By Forbes.
And then he was named,
#1, like Chicago's like enemy. So he was definitely one of the most wanted men, and they finally caught him. So it's interesting to see where this is all gonna lead, and like
how Mexico is going to change.
yeah, how they're gonna react to it. I'm really interested to see like who's gonna interview him, who's gonna take the first interview.
Oh, yeah.
I think Jorge Ramos should take that one.
He is. He's great at interviewing people. I
Yeah.
mean, he's kind of like our Barbara Walters. That's who he is equivalent to. He does all those questions that you want to know the answers to, but not everybody has the guts
Right.
to ask. So I think he should definitely.
No cutting ties with him. It's like he goes straight to the point.
Yes. So it'll be great to just get inside this man's mind.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just imagine like
what goes on in this person's head. You've been on the run for 13 years. You've been wanted for 20, and you are the head of the biggest drug cartel known to the world. It's just, I mean, you just want to
'cause
know
he's
what.
also gonna be like he's also wanted not only in Mexico but in like the United States as well.
So how are they going to try? I guess they're going to try
They're
him.
gonna trial him. They're first gonna start in Mexico, and then they're gonna go and they're gonna bring him here, and they're gonna trial him here
Hopefully
as well.
this time he does not escape. So
So-
that is. It's going to be wonderful to see just where Mexico is going to go from here on.
Right.
Now that he's going to get caught, because like you said, a lot of the businesses in Mexico, they all ran like behind closed doors. Somehow they're usually tied to drugs.
Right.
So it'll just be interesting to see now that he gets cut off if, is somebody else going to still continue to run his businesses? Is it going to stop? So hopefully it'll be a step.
It'll be interesting to see what's
Hopefully
gonna
it's a step forward for Mexico.
Yeah.
So
I think it is. So that's it for today, guys. Thank
Hope
you
you
for
enjoyed.
watching. We'll see you next time with more Hispanic news.
And remember to keep Venezuela in your prayers, everyone. So stay strong.